Okay, so here's the front differential. I just went ahead and sprayed some brake clean around. Looks like I have enough room on this one to take this cover off. I know on some of them, the drag links or different suspension components can be really close, but I've got about 3 inches here. So I think I've got plenty of room to pull this off. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull this off, clean the surfaces, let the oil drain. There is a sump at the bottom here, and so it'll be good to be able to wipe everything out. I know that on some applications, when you don't have this room, the recommended method is to suck out the fluid through the fill. I'm curious the level, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this off, which will also be helpful to pop that off and loosen it up before taking everything apart. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so nothing there. Yep, it's just a hair below the fill port. All right, so these bolts are 9/16. Let me get my jar ready. Alright, so here's the diff cover. It's for the front differential. Just going to start scraping off some of this sealant. Wipe out the sump here. The oil's been draining out of the gears and bearings and everything while I was cleaning the cover. So now the oil is collecting at the bottom of the housing. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe through and get as much of the oil out as I can. So we got that pretty well protected. So I'm going to go and start scraping this side. chase threads, clean out the holes. So that's ready to go. Next, I need to put the sealant on the diff cover. All right, so I got the cover here. It says, the Ford manual, it says to run a bead around all the bowl holes, and then of course between the bowl holes, and to have a bead thickness of about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch. So that's what I've got here on the cover, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on. The other thing that's important about putting this on is you don't want it to smear, you want it to squish. So you want to get it in place before you push it against the differential. So I'm holding it away from the differential. Let's see if I can start this one screw a bit. And it started. I'm going to come over here. Look at where. So that's like the 2 o'clock position, and then I'm going to go ahead and start the 8 o'clock position. Okay, so that one is started. And let's put a little bit more. And the torque on these bolts is 45 foot-pounds. I'm going to go ahead and just snug them up using the impact gun. So we've got pretty even squish on the sides, which is a good sign. All right, we're going to go and torque this to 45. I don't think the pattern matters, so I'm just going to go around in a circle. A couple of these is showing as red, so it's 47 instead of 45. Close enough. Have it. That's all torqued. I am going to wait until, actually I think I'm going to wait a couple days to fill this. So this is what the Ford manual calls for on this front axle. It's 80/90 rear axle lubricant. So this is just a conventional rear axle oil. All right, so let's start filling it. So I did let the sealant cure for 2 days. Let's see, I did it day before yesterday at night, so about a day and a half ago, I guess. Yeah, maybe a little more than a day and a half. About a day and a half, and the instructions for the sealant say to let it set for 24 hours before filling it. It is really cold out and I had to park it outside, so because it doesn't fit in my garage with the garage door closed. So I had it parked outside. It's been about like in the 40s the last couple of days. So I figure I didn't really need the vehicle the last couple of days, so I might as well just let it sit. And if that helps it to cure and seal better, then why not? And so now I'm going ahead and filling this. Let me know in the comments what you guys do when doing a differential. Do you follow the directions that are on the sealant? I use the Permatex oil, differential oil sealant RTV, and this is that's the process it called for. So yeah, just curious. That's the first time I've had anything like that where you have to wait. Even the rear axle, or even in the Ford workshop, it said to wait an hour before filling if you can, and before putting oil in it. And that's using the Ford sealant. So just kind of weird. I've done several Meritor axles over the years on trucks, and I've never really seen that in any of the instructions or manuals or anything to go through that process. However, on the big trucks, after, it wasn't just a reseal job that I was doing, it was more of a bearing failure, either at the wheel ends or in the differential, and then, pulling everything apart, cleaning everything out, and then reassembling. And in that process, like pulling out the third member, it's a little bit different than on a pickup, but yeah, I'd put the new third member in, and then of course you've got to put on those jobs doing the hubs. You have to replace the hubs, rebuild the hubs, put those back on the axle tube. So usually, yeah, I guess it was definitely over an hour between when I put the pumpkin in or the third member in versus when I filled it. But I just never seen that as the process before, so I found that kind of different. But I want to make sure that this is successful. I don't have to pull it back off in a few weeks or a month or whatever. So, and I could give it the time. So figured, why not? All right. So first quart down. All right. Second quart. Is dripping out. I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but that is perfect. Wow, I took 3 quarts. Just gonna let it level out here for a couple minutes, and then I'll do. This is what I'm using: Loctite 565 red sealant. Something like that. The Ford manual calls for 20 foot-pounds on this guy. Go ahead and wipe it down. I'll brake clean it later. I'll give some time for that red sealant to set up. All right, so here's the oil that came out of the front differential. It's got like a greenish tint to it. It's pretty dark. And then here's the new stuff here. You can see it's much more clear. And yeah, so this is 80-90, I believe. And it's just conventional oil, not synthetic or anything. So yeah, you can see the difference. And again, I have about 100,000 miles on the truck. And assuming that nobody else has replaced the oil, this would then be the original oil. Let me know what you think in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. I do have other videos on the truck coming out soon, so that way you get those notifications and you can watch those videos as well. And until next time, you guys take care.